yeah, same thing again. And they had like the potting mix was basically small little chunks of bark chips, basically. So it was actually a bark chip potting mix, but it looked peaty. And this one, same thing. They all had the same smell. And I think I figured it out. It's the smell of lettuce, a strong smell of lettuce. So the tomato plants are smelling like lettuce, which is weird, isn't it? So yeah, weird. Anyway, to go back a bit, early on in the year we found this journal article from 1929, I think it was. I have mentioned it on previous videos if you want to go back there, sort of thing. And yeah, trying to get these down into the hole, push the roots down so we can then get the plant right down to that first cotyledon. Apparently that you get adventitious roots coming off the stem if you plant your tomatoes like this or thing. Apparently, anyway, this is the story. And you know, long persistent root haired plants, sort of thing, beans, peas and beans, and the like sort of thing. So we're hoping that this works for all those sort of long persistent root haired plants, including the Venus flytrap. If you go to that 1958 paper by Robertson Oostings, who then became Oostings and Oosting. I think they got married or something. So it was shortly after the war sort of thing. So, you know, and they were involved in the wartime forestry industry, or the bloke was anyway. So, and he wrote a book on that's the other thing. He wrote a book on world vegetational types. You know, so he should have known about serpentine. So that was a bit weird too. So to go back to this 1929 in the American Journal of Horticulture, I think it was. Quite a young journal back then. So yeah, so we'll put those in and push it down and get it right as far down as we can. So, and then we push the sand in like that around the roots, so it will knit around all those roots and presumably some form of root hairs as well down there. And you're going out to this journal from 1929, there was this article on ferns in there, and they got to some paragraph where this bloke in the journal basically say you can't grow this is a bold statement, I thought, and quite a bold statement for back then. You can't grow ferns without leaf mould. And I thought, that sounds very familiar. You can't grow ferns without leaf mould. You know, it all, yeah, audacious statements were like, you know, for the times, I would have said. And of course, then you get the question, what is leaf mould? But it came to me like a lightning bolt, because hey, isn't that very familiar with carnivorous plants? You can't grow carnivorous plants in anything basically but peat sort of thing. And I'm thinking, yeah, that sounds very familiar. So is there a relationship between leaf mould and peat sort of thing? You know, they always talk about, you know, and then we found out that most people grow tomatoes in peat, and particularly Irish peat. And of course, then we got the White Sox sour guys going on about if you can grow a tomato plant, you can grow CP. So this is what I'm setting this up to do. Can I grow a tomato plant in this sort of setup situation? And we might actually learn out what peat really is all about and what leaf mould is all about. But my suggestion to you, it's all about high lignin or highly lignified soil components, basically. And that's why here in Australia we have the most sclerophyllous or highly lignified, etc. vegetation in the world, and we have the most CPs with the saltiest content with the most CPs. We're also the most charcoalized or bushfire prone continent on the planet, where the flora has actually evolved. And I'm going to put the horseradish label in there, so we don't. I think, yeah, I like the horseradish here mainly because it has this like sort of. If I can show it to you, I'm just going to knock this. Can you see that sort of red to purple? It has like red to purple black almost. It can produce a colour like that, which will be very interesting because they're always going on about Eden black cephalotus and things like that. And yeah, I think I'm going to have to run this under a trap as well. So just bear with me. Yep, another. Gonna check that it's still running, but yeah, another bark chip potting mix, a highly lignified bark chip potting mix sort of thing. But I managed to get most of it off, and so on and so forth. And I'll plant this one in the centre if I can, and we'll see how we go. Whether these stems are going to go a nice colour, or they're going to go purple, or even black. Might help you with your Eden black cephalotus if you really want to have a nice. We're going to have quite a big hole for this one, I think, and at some depth, I think. So see if I got the skills to do that. I don't know. We'll give it a go. And get it down there. No, that's not good enough. Gonna have to put my finger down, I think. Oh, that's better. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a bit better. We'll get that in there, and we'll cover up with the sand there, and the sand off there, down there, and cover it over with that stuff here. Yeah, so I think that's why you're going to need about 400 cubic centimeters, so you can actually cover back over the surface. And it's going to be an acquired skill, I think, covering back over the surface with your stuff. So yeah, you may have to make up some separate stuff, you know, another 200 cubic, just to fill in spaces and things like that. You know, so yeah, it could be something like that. But if you can pull stuff off from the sides here and spread it out, sort of thing. And basically, so that was that one. Now with the next one, we'll talk about with the next clip. Now we're going to put our fill this up before they droop. Probably a bit shocked now, I suppose, but hopefully, if we fill this up. And see what the drip rate and everything is like. As I said, it's different to what it would be with just a purely organic medium on top, because this is, as I said, this is like a slightly waxy medium, and you've got to ask yourself how you know, you got a hydrophobic medium versus a waxy material versus a hydrophobic medium. How a waxy material can overcome hydrophobia, sort of thing. It's quite an interesting sort of concept, sort of thing. So anyway, so we set that up there like that. Now if we take this off, you might see, take the camera off the tripod, you can see and in the next clip we'll talk about some information about sand you might not know about, quartzite sand. So it's flying a bit fast. So it does certainly make a difference. So having done all that work to find out a slot is the best way to overcome those problems of clogging up, we've now got a system where it's sort of, we want to go the other way now. We want to probably make the hole as small as possible, because the waxy nature of our ashen layer, our sort of ashen layer substitute, is affecting the hydrophobic nature of the normal sort of hydrophobic nature of the quartzite and soil sand sort of interrelationship now. So yeah, anyway, we'll see how that goes. Whether they're going to wilt and droop, I don't know, or they're going to bounce back like these did quite rapidly, so we'll see. Anyway, over and out for this clip, and we'll talk about some more information about sand, quartzite sand in particular, that you may not have heard about before in the next one, okay?